Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 30th day of July 2024. And in studio I have Geoffrey Wandeto, Member of Parliament for Tetu constituency in Nyeri County. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Where have you been?
Sam, I've been around.
No, you have not.
Of course, I've not been to studio for like 2 or 3 months now.
He's been forming the coalition government.
But you know, Sam, there has been a lot happening.
Yeah.
And obviously, my services have been required elsewhere. But I'm very happy to be back after, quite
the last time I saw you was way before the finance bill was passed, then rejected.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is correct.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Daisy and Danny.
That is so sarcastic. I
know.
So sarcastic. Remember, Sam, when we were sitting here and I was telling him, this thing you never know. You know, you'll find me in this government.
Okay, we're still doing introductions. Daisy from Crown Trust. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Great. I think I've seen you not long ago. Senator Richard Onyango, how are you?
Good morning, Sam. Good morning.
Welcome back.
I'm happy to be here.
Great. So this morning we have a few issues to speak about. First, on the issue of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, that we are seeing a statement in the papers. We'll also later speak about the formation of the new cabinet, the incorporation of ODM in that broad-based government, and the impact of that, especially in the country, as well as what is happening to different regions and political parties. But first, let's listen to what the president had said in regards to the JKIA question.
Long-term capacity demands, but the government says there's no money to undertake this refurbishment due to what it calls prevailing fiscal constraints, and as such have invited private investors.
Okay, so that's the wrong clip. We'll get the correct one in as far as what the president said in regards to the plan to expand the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. He says that the idea is to build a new terminal, a new runway, taxiway, as well as refurbish what is existent, saying that we are 10 years behind. And there's a statement on page 5 of the Standard indicating that a proposal was received from Adani Airports Holding Limited, and it is being looked into to assess it on whether it complies with the requirements of the government, but also the laws that are established in the country. So let's listen to the president on what he said exactly.
I have seen many people saying William Ruto wants to sell the airport. Am I a madman? You know, sure. How do you sell a strategic national asset? Public-private partnership has the potential to bring in private sector money, blend it with public sector investment to be able to create an outcome that brings win-win.
So, Senator Onyango, you've been quite categorical on this particular matter. Yes. And there's that statement by the government indicating on what exactly is happening.
Thank you.
What is your take?
3 points. This is another case of wasted public resources where Prime Secretary Musalia Mudavadi is putting this thing. You know, this thing costs like $1 million shillings to print, refuting the obvious. Are you with me? Nobody told Prime Secretary Musalia or even the President, Honorable William Ruto, that the airport has been sold. What we are saying, what I've been saying is this.
Yep.
We have discovered you have a deal. This deal, nobody knows the details and the facts. We are saying, please, let us follow the law. The law that I want you to follow is, if you agree that you are having a transaction with this company, the law allows me, which I have done, I have filed at the Senate and I've asked for the documentation to be presented, not even to me, to the committee of the House. Are you with me? So that then we can interrogate this matter. And it's not only this matter. Sammy, there are certain contracts which have been signed by the government, and there's no illegality in that. You see what I've been telling people? We are not saying that the president and his team have committed an illegality. What we are saying, show us the facts of what you have done, because that's what the law requires me as a member of the oversight team in this country to question the deal and the transaction you've gotten into.
So
why? Because
you're saying the deal has been signed.
Yes.
The statement by the Prime Cabinet Secretary says it is being the proposal,
yes,
which is a privately initiated proposal from Adani Airport Holdings of India,
yes,
was received in March 2024. It's still under consideration. You're saying it's been signed.
What I am saying is that you are believing the government.
No.
Don't believe the government. What
there are two sources here, yourself and the government.
What my brother Musalia is doing is damage control. In political economy, this is damage control. He knows the public is shocked. Sami, we have an issue. We have a problem with these airports, and it's not one.
Yep.
Are you with me? Musalia didn't discuss whether it is JKIA that they want to discuss with the PPP or not. Number two, Sami, I have information and I have documents which are showing that when this proposal started, there were 2-3 other companies that participated. All right?
Which ones?
There is one, I can give it to you. I'll give you the name just now. I'll give it to you in just a minute. Okay, right. Now, so what I'm saying is this. There is another company that tendered for this. Their conviction, and I'm saying, I am not making allegations that, people have stolen. What I'm saying is this. Give us the details of the contract. Tell us whether there was another company that participated or any other companies that participated in this exercise. Come and explain to us whether in that agreement you have agreed whether Kenyans are going to be fired so that you can accommodate the Indians. Tell the stakeholder, the company is called GMR. All right, GMR Airports Limited. All right. So there were 2-3 different companies.
So what did they do?
They tendered also. That's how this information came out.
Was there a tender issue?
I'm confused here because
yes,
again,
yes,
a source, which is the government of Kenya, says that a privately initiated proposal has been presented by Adani.
That is true.
So that is, again, privately initiated proposal.
No,
it is not an open tender.
Sami, let me tell you, there's nothing under the Public Procurement and Disposal Act which talks about a privately initiated issue.
There is.
There isn't. Unless, hold on. Unless there is an exception under the public and procurement tendering proposal so that you do single sourcing when there is a critical event, a disaster, or when there's a need and because of an emergency. You cannot take our airports, hold meetings with people. We are informed that money exchanged hands. We are told there was a second company that was initiated. We are receiving information that part of this deal of the airport includes Ketraco. That one of the issues that has come up is that our Kenya Trucking Corporation, which is supposed to be distributing power within our country, is also being under such an agreement. That agreement is proceeding eventually, so that much more. There are so many things going on. Sam, what we are saying is this. This is an open government. Our constitution is supposed to allow us to know what the government is doing. We want the government to come to the Senate and the National Assembly to tell us, and I've requested that at the Senate, how many agreements like this have you signed? Have you signed one with the Port of Mombasa? Have you signed one with Ketraco, like I'm saying? Have you signed one with Kenyan? Have you signed one with Kenya Power? I mean, Sam, even you, wouldn't you want to know those details?
Of course.
Thank you.
That's why we're asking this question.
That's my case. so this thing Cabinet Secretary Musalia has put here. You see this thing of saying at the government, Sam, look at this, a whole pager. At the government, he's saying we have not. That's not what I asked for. Now, but last point, Sam. Musalia Mudavadi, my brother, knows the law. Once a senator.
So I'm reading section 40 of the Public-Private PPP Act.
Yes.
Public-Private Partnership Act. Yes, I guess. Section 40. A private party may submit a privately initiated proposal to a contracting authority.
True.
A contracting authority may consider a privately initiated proposal submitted under that subsection I just read.
Yes.
If the project is aligned with national infrastructure priorities and meets a demonstrated societal need, the project provides value for money, the project proposal provides sufficient information for the contracting authority to assess fiscal affordability and the potential contingent liability implications of the proposal and so many other provisions there.
Thank you.
So, in short, what I'm saying,
yes,
a privately privately initiated proposal actually exists in the law.
But what I'm saying is this: it again gives you conditions what you do. That's what I'm saying. You know, you said your statement was, and I want to listen to the other panelist. Yes.
But you said that GMR Airports Limited submitted a proposal,
yes,
or a tender,
yes,
which was not.
In fact, that document I got yesterday,
which was not considered.
Yes.
But what I'm asking you is, if the law allows privately initiated proposal,
yes,
is there something wrong in Adani presenting a proposal?
Read the law you just read about public procurement, the last paragraph.
No, I didn't read about public procurement. I read about privately initiated proposal.
Talk about that privately initiated proposal. There's a last sentence there.
That?
Yes, read it.
I just read it to you.
Just read it.
Which part do you want me to read?
The part where you are saying, how do you become accountable to that?
Okay, I just read it because I don't know what particular...
The last paragraph.
There are many.
There's one, just...
Okay, F, paragraph F. The project supports the efficient transfer of risk from the public sector.
That is true. Next one.
The previous one. Paragraph E. The project is supported by all documents listed under subsection 3 for purposes of transparency and accountability.
Thank you. What does that mean? If I have received information right now that there's an agreement which has already been signed, is there accountability and transparency in that?
But you see, you are the one who is saying it's signed.
That's what I'm saying. Let the government come and prove to me that it hasn't.
Okay.
Then I will present the evidence I have. Let them tell me this is not what we signed, or we have never signed an agreement. I am saying that this is damage control after the effect has been done.
Okay.
Including people who are making any claims, my leader. Shouldn't they come and explain? Because you might find, and this issue of transparency, in other words, Sam, this law was not passed so that then you can get out of here and go to any particular country and negotiate something, and you're arguing it's for the good of the Kenyan public, so where there's no transparency, and it will go against the constitution anyway. You believe it's pre-negotiated? Absolutely. There are quid pro quos and money has exchanged hands.
Mheshimiwa Wandeto, what are we dealing with here?
I think some, first of all, JKIA is crying for facelift. I think we've seen and covered this previously. Issues of leaking roofs, issues of congestion, inadequate facilities. So JKIA for a long time has been crying for some help in terms of renovation and expansion. And there has been previous efforts, to do the greenfield terminal, to do, to extend the runway and things like that. And I have also, the whole issue of Adani Group, I think, just came to us, a week ago. And I think what I would like to say is this, Sam. Just like you said, public-private partnerships are nothing new in this country. I think what we are dealing with here is the manner in which we have executed this.
I think they are fairly new.
And
well,
but it has happened in the past, so it's not the first time we are dealing. We are dealing with this. I think what we are dealing with here has been the key issue for me here has been transparency. The fact that we've been picking this in the media. If you look at section 34 of the Constitution, of course, citizens have some right to information, and I think it's important that that we start providing information about this. What we have read is that some company wrote to Kenya Airports Authority and said, we think we can assist, and I think you've just read it correctly, that there is nothing wrong with that. Anybody can write a proposal and say, we think we have, we can do business here together, or we have an investment plan. We have all listened to that investment plan in terms of what they want to put in, over the next so many years, and the various proposals that they have made in terms of, the concessions that they're looking at. For me, is first of all, we need to ensure that there is transparency in how this thing is executed going forward. JKIA is a sensitive national asset. Okay?
Thank you.
And it is something that all of us as Kenyans have a lot of interest in. And we do not want to wake up and realize that maybe a lopsided agreement was entered into. So I think the challenge on the people executing this, whether it's KA whether it's the Prime Cabinet Secretary who has issued a brief, and I believe he has done this because now he is the acting minister across all ministries. He would be doing this ideally on behalf of the Minister for Transport and Communications. I mean, it is important that all information is put on the table. First of all, did we have any other competing proposals?
Thank you.
If we have now received this proposal, how are we going about, the negotiations? What are we looking at? What is our framework? Because it's one thing for me to tell you how I would like to help you. It's also another thing for you to be clear how you'd like to be helped. So was there a document showing these are the investments that we require in JKIA, so that it becomes like some sort of an evaluation criteria?
Right.
Okay. So for me, I think KIA needs to do a little bit more. I hope it is done. I hope there is a document showing what is the investment brief. I hope there is there's some sort of a document again as to which Adani Holdings and maybe any other proponent will be evaluated. But overall, I think the issue of having a private company coming in, I see nothing wrong with that. But can we give everybody a chance? Maybe there could have been even local investors that may be interested in doing this. There could be have been other.
So let me ask you this. Ideally, if Cabinet has made a decision that there's a strategic investment we need to make, how does Adani learn about it?
Interesting questions, because what we would have expected from that is some sort of a document.
Sure.
And I'm asking that because there's a recent report of the Auditor General that looked at the procurement of external loans and talked about that in some instances you'd find that a project is identified by the top level decision-making organ, which is Cabinet.
Yes.
Then even before this procurement, you find that a private company is financing feasibility study
on the same project.
And of course, the feasibility study returns the results that this is actually viable.
Yes.
When it comes to sourcing of financing, there are no alternatives in looking at which organizations would want to fund us, what are the terms. So eventually it is just one financier that goes through the entire of it. I mean, it's documented in that report. But Daisy, then, knowing that we have such history, knowing that Kenyans are going to ask questions, the Cabinet Secretary, the Prime Cabinet Secretary is giving this statement. So there is an air of suspicion versus history of what has happened
before.
Yet you can actually agree that probably we need, like he says, a better look of an airport.
Of course, I want to agree that indeed that air of suspicion is there, and rightfully so, because history has served to show us that when things are shrouded in mystery, there is definitely a cover-up of corruption. Now, Honorable Wandeto has just talked about the Greenfields project. The Greenfields project was a flagship of the Vision 2030. Remember, Vision 2030 was about Kenya becoming an industrialized nation by 2030. And one of the key elements of it was the refurbishment, expansion, and efficiency of the JKIA and our airports as a premier gateway to facilitate that, okay? So Greenfields entered, the Greenfields project was actually financed. Right now, Kenya, I do not know if it has even been resolved. Maybe members of parliament can tell us. But because of Kenya in 2015 cancelled the contracts related to the Greenfields project, which occasioned then court action by a company called Anuhi Construction that had been contracted to do this work. Okay? So, as it stands already, there are issues around this. In fact, when you talk about those leaking roofs, you see that some of these temporary buildings, all those were part of the Greenfields project, right? Where we had the prefabs that were supposed to be temporary structures as the third terminal was built, as we built, as the new runway was built. So we need, before we even start entertaining new companies to come and offer us these services, we must go back and find out what happened with the Greenfields project, why did it collapse, what happened to the resources, because a lot of money was put into that, and borrowings, okay? But even before we get to Greenfields, I want us to come back to what we call them parastatals. state-owned enterprises, which are quasi-government enterprises, quasi-government entities that are supposed to run as enterprises, income-making enterprises that have public interest. Now, in 1991, Kenya Airports Authority was actually created as part of that corporatization strategy, right? So ideally, what we are seeing, all these developments, expansions and everything should ideally be undertaken by Kenya Airports Authority. Even this Ketraco, all these parastatal state-owned enterprises have been created so that they operate as corporate entities but in public interest, and they have government shareholding. That is what Kenya Airports Authority is. So all these things that we're seeing Adani being brought in to do and everything actually should be done by Kenya Airports Authority. Wandeto, you talked about that perhaps we have local capacity to do it. So we must also look at where is the failing, because we can't have this state-owned enterprise that was created to do exactly what now we are calling in private entrepreneurs to do. We need to know where is the failing, what has caused Kenya Airports Authority to fail. And while we may be looking at JKIA, please note that this is for the handling of our airports. By the way, under aerodromes, this Aerodromes Act, it is for all our airports plus their land holding.
Thank you.
And if you go to the Act, you will find that these are under the authority of the Kenya Airports Authority to be able to facilitate travel, trade, cargo, all these, movement of persons. So we are looking, JKIA, first of all, we need to understand that Kenya is so strategically positioned as a premier gateway to East and Central Africa, okay? Majority of the countries around us are landlocked. So this is such a strategic entity, right? And can offer the kind of turnaround that this country needs in terms of employment, investments, and businesses. Now, you bring a company like Adani, okay, that mysteriously, offered this offer to come and manage our airports for us. How did they know about it? But what is the reputation of this organization? Because that's also the other thing that has been raised about this company. This Adani company also has a lot of reputational risk in terms of they have been embroiled in scandals. They do offer these services in other countries, but where they have offered them, they have been mired in a lot of corruption and scandals. So what is it that we are saying? So I really think that on this one, Senator, you cannot keep silent, and Parliament absolutely needs to play its role in safeguarding this very strategic national interest from the plunder and corruption that we are seeing. All this, I agree, is pure damage control, because up until the time that the whistle was blown, everything was hunky-dory. So I think that there's a lot here that we're not seeing.
Paragraph 9 of PCS Mudavadi's statement: the government has considered various options of financing the expansion and modernization of JKIA, given that the projected passenger throughput in the next 30 years is expected to grow to about 30.5 million. The proposed expansion of JKIA is estimated to cost $2 billion or 260 billion shillings, a sum that the government of Kenya is constrained to fund due to the current tight fiscal situation.
Sammy, check your phone.
I want us to take a short break. Yes,
I've sent you a document.
Let's take a short break.
I've sent you a document which I want.
Use 1 minute each to conclude on this so that we can go to
I have sent you a document on what Kosing said 4 years ago.
Thank you, Senator. We take a short break. When you come back, we have more on this, plus questions of the next cabinet of the Republic of Kenya.